Okay, let's move on to our favorite part of our podcast, Facebook Live. Prediction time. I laugh because this is going to be fun. Friday at the Kings. Saturday at home versus the Kings. Monday at the Grizzlies. Nate, you want to tee this thing up?
Sure. Can I start off with our records?
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Do it.
Okay, so I'm 10-4 this year in picking games. That's the lead. Orlando was tied with me last week, but because he picked the Nuggets to win, he's back down now with Jared, who are both 9-5. So you're still both hot.
Decent delivery.
Hot on my tail still, but. We still have to recover from that Brooklyn Nets game from last week. We all picked the Blazers to win that one. And we were all thinking, oh, no, at that point. But this week, because we're not going to take in the Philadelphia game, because we're doing our podcast next week on Wednesday, not Thursday, because obviously, happy Thanksgiving everyone. Yeah. So we're just focusing on the Kings Friday night, the Kings again Saturday, and then the Grizzlies on the road on Monday. And just like last week, I'm going to say it's a sweep, baby. Woo! The Blazers are going to go 3-0 in their next 3 games.
Is this the week?
This is the week. And because, I mean, Sacramento, we think the Brooklyn loss is bad. If they lose to the Kings, that's worse. I mean, the Kings are 3-11 this year. Max brought this up to me last night, that in their last 3 games, they've been defeated by an average of 30 points a game. So they're not even competitive right now. They lost to the Hawks, who were 2-12 going into that game. They lost them by 46 last night. Yeah. Their leading scorer is Zach Randolph. And then Buddy Hield following that. This is not a good basketball team. The Friday and Saturday should be 2 wins where the Blazers go out and they take care of business. They honestly should not be close Friday and Saturday. And then we get Memphis. So this is a fun one because obviously Memphis beat the Blazers by a point a week and a half ago. And the reason I think the Blazers are going to win it this go-around is because in that game, Yusuf Nurkic got into early foul trouble, was completely out of that game. Damian Lillard struggled to shoot the ball in that game. I don't think he scored in the first half. CJ McCollum had a great game, and had a shot to win at the end. All these things didn't go the Blazers' way, and CJ McCollum still had a good look to win that game. Mike Conley right now is nursing an Achilles injury. He didn't play last night, and as we've seen, in other sports, Achilles injury can pop at any time. Yeah. And so I think the Blazers are going to go and beat Memphis. I think they're a better team than Memphis. The one thing that Blazers have to take care of that they struggled with last time was obviously containing Conley in the fourth quarter if he plays, but Tyreke Evans as well. They didn't have anyone who could stop Tyreke Evans, who was instant offense off the bench. So that's something they're going to have to address. But I think if Dame or Nurk plays better than they did the previous matchup against the Grizzlies, I think the Blazers win that one as well.
I'm never going to catch you, Nate, because we keep making the same picks. I picked them to go 3-0 against this week.
Oh, come on!
I mean, I only make the picks as I believe them to be, not to boost my record. Okay. But the Kings they're the worst team in the NBA. Yeah. And I don't think it's really even close. They're not competitive. And if the Blazers are a serious team, they should take care of both of these games. Road-home back-to-backs are tough. And you don't usually sweep those games, but you don't usually have this inept an opponent that you're facing. So they've got to win both those games.
Oh, man. That's bulletin
Sorry, Kings fans.
Right there,
so last week it was perfect elixir. This week it's inept.
Yes, so. I love it, man.
I just need to stop talking. But I think that they'll beat the Grizzlies mainly because the Grizzlies have lost 3 in a row since they beat the Blazers. They started off 5-1. And since then, they're 2-6, I think.
You're right.
They're just not playing well. Mike Conley is ailing. Even if he plays against the Blazers, he's not going to be 100%. And even though he had a good fourth quarter in the last game, he didn't play well up to that point. The one player they have who's reliable is Marc Gasol. And Yusuf Nurkic might struggle to match up against him again, but I just think they're going to avenge that loss and pick up a road win against the Grizzlies.
I'm so nervous talking about Sacramento. Like, I don't even want to say anything about this team. They're so bad.
I think you should just hold this up and just cross it out and put in Kings.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not interested in the Sacramento Kings, okay? Because they are terrible, as you mentioned, probably the worst team in the league. But I will say, with that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Blazers aren't interested.
Man.
That they, for whatever reason, this becomes an automatic W for them. Yeah. And on the flip side of this, back-to-back, They don't show up. I still think they win, though. But I have a hard time saying they're going to dominate and that they're going to, sweep 3 games any week. And until they prove it to me, I'm going 2-1. I think that they lose to the Grizzlies again. And to your point that, Conley, only had a good second half. What happens if he has a good game?
Well, I'd say the same about Damian Lillard.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're saying,
And
it's like,
Nurkic.
like to your point, you can flip any of these arguments.
Yeah.
And I think that Mike Conley, they don't have an answer for that cat, and I think that he can show up at any moment. This game will be on the road, and I think that after Memphis loses 4 in a row, I think they're going to be looking for a win, and I think that that's right for the pick, and I think this is going to be another close game, just like the last one. And like I mentioned about the last one, before the last one, was that this game is going to be close. And how have the Blazers done in close games? And until that they can prove that they can win a close game, I'm picking against them every time.
Well, they won a close game last night, so hopefully that will be, for Blazers fans, hopefully that will continue to be the way they go.
Maybe that's the one.
I can't, man, you think Sacramento, you think those games are going to be close?
I don't think both of them will be, but I just have a feeling that there'll be one of them that we're interested in paying attention to.
Sacramento's played a little better at home. Not great, but they've had some good.
The reason I think Portland sees this as an opportunity, they've been kind of stuck around 500. I think they see these games as an opportunity, to kind of get away from that 500 record.
Yes,
but
you
they
can
should have seen that against the Nets, too.
Yeah, and that's the
thing.
point.
And it's hard to make these calls because they've had some
It's
odd
abuse, guys. It's abuse. Like, you guys are suffering from abuse right now by believing in these teams and the bad ones that they're facing.
Quick
Max, do you
question,
have a
guys,
question?
before we wrap it up. Which of those 2 Kings games do you guys think it has the greater potential to be a trap game for the Blazers?
The second one.
The home game?
The home game here in Portland. The second one. I think, it's a back-to-back. It's a back-to-back to both teams, but back-to-backs always bring in, you're a little more tired. And, the Blazers, I think, will go and take care of business Friday night. I don't think Friday's game will be close at all. And if that's the case, maybe you get into Orlando's territory of a little overconfidence, thinking this is an automatic W. They're not interested in the Kings on Saturday night. So that game might be at home, but I think that's the one more likely to be a trap for them.
That's a perfect way of putting it, with a trap game.
I disagree. I think it's the game in Sacramento for a couple of reasons. I think the Blazers could easily be overlooking the Kings. They see it just like we do. They saw that they lost by 46 points to the Hawks. They haven't been competitive in the past few games at all. And so they could go in overconfident. And you also, they're still professional athletes. The Kings are probably extremely upset about the way they played against the Hawks. So they're going to come out. They're going to play really hard. I just don't see them losing either of those games. But
I know it's hard to see.
I think the game in Sacramento will be tougher.
Like, Sacramento's only averaging 93 points a game this year.
Yeah.
Like, offensively, they don't have anyone to go to in terms of scoring. So if you're the
And
Blazers,
they can't defend either.
No, they're giving up like 107 a game,
Goodness.
which is amongst the worst in the league. And
Yeah.
so the
This
Blazers,
is a bad team.
We've
given the Sacramento Kings way too much airtime today.
Yeah.
If the Blazers lose to the Kings, it's not our fault. It's the Blazers' fault.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. And be angry if they lose to the Kings. We're okay with that.
You absolutely should.
Oh, man, yeah. I can't wait to hear the Facebook comments next week if that
gosh.
tends to be the case. Sports Sunday is going to be a blast. That's for sure.